Nothing in this video is advice. I'm a martial artist and I own a cryotherapy and float centre, and this is just what I did for my recovery. So on end of November 2021, I fell from a ladder and broke both my heels. The photos might seem odd to some, but I knew in that moment that my life had changed briefly for a while and I knew the fight was on. So I requested the photos to register the moment and to start my healing journey. So I was in hospital for 3 days. I released myself as the surgeon told me the right heel had shattered so badly and fragmented it couldn't be pinned, and it would be 6 months to a year before I'd walk again. So with this in mind, knowing there wasn't doing anything else, I discharged myself, and as soon as I had, within an hour of being out of hospital, I was inside the cryotherapy chamber. The benefits have been remarkable. I've used it fairly intensely most days for the first 2 months, but the difference in the first week was incredible. My feet went from balloons to massive reduction. The inflammation was just reduced incredibly. There's some thermal imaging. These aren't my legs, these are someone else's that uses the cryotherapy. I've written a blog about what these images mean exactly on my website, which I'll link below. You can see on the first picture and the second picture the difference in the inflammation, and I'll put the notes up on what that means. So the next day out of hospital, I started my rehabilitation very slowly. I was using I had my pots on at this point. This is a video I did later, so I was just gently rotating, using my flexation in my toes, so toe movement very, very lightly, just all day, like for hours and hours and hours through the day. I just didn't stop. And then once I'd managed to strengthen them up a little bit, this is the next movements I was doing. I was walking the wheelchair backwards, assisting with my hands, and then with just my feet. Then the next movement was going forwards, which was quite intensive on the leg muscles. It was hard work. And then I would build up to standing up with assistance from the hands in the wheelchair, all the way to full standing up on my toes. It's worth mentioning at this point, I've used no walking aids at all throughout the process. I've used the wheelchair, and if I'm not in the wheelchair, I'm on my feet, or I'm using rubber bands to strengthen the legs, trying to go through any movements that replicated walking or squatting at first as best I could. Bear in mind, my legs were still in pots at this point. Both heels are broken. This is just a video I did later. Okay, so I was just doing thousands of leg movements a day, hip rotations, just to keep everything moving. Just thousands and thousands of movements similar to this. I was using the sauna quite intensely, probably about 5 times a week. I would cover my feet in various muscle rubs, CBD muscle rubs, and then roll them on a roller while in there for 25 minutes at high temperatures. I would use the float. I was using the float in the first week. I expected to be jumping in the float and having a nice relaxing foot rotational rehab. That was not what happened. It was probably the most painful, excruciating experience during the whole healing process. I had nothing else to focus on while in the pod except pain. Once I got my mind inside the pain, it was quite interesting. I then noticed several different types of pain, from burning pain to sharp pain to throbbing pain. It was pain that came and went, and that was actually, it doesn't sound much fun. Well, it wasn't, but it was quite interesting at the same time. The first week, within 3-4 days, I was in the gym. I was teaching my classes with my pots on. I was active. Like I say, lots of CBD muscle rubs, they were helping. I was also using the hyperbaric chamber, which is I swear by. Quite an intense experience if you're not into close spaces. Probably not for you, but great. Quad was fun to get about, walk my dog. Someone had to walk the dog. I found various ways of keeping mobile and training different modalities. So, keep the body moving, the opposite of what I was told and advised. So within 3 days, I was in the gym training and teaching. And then the push bike. I found the push bike really useful. At first, the push bike was fantastic. Actually, it replicated walking. It was the nearest thing. Felt so normal. It was the most normal thing I was doing. I used as you can see, I'm using it to walk, so I could dictate how much pressure went onto the heels and replicated walking with the push bike. And then I would just get off road and hammer it across the fields with my dog, Rudy, 4 legs. And that was just, it felt so good to burn my legs out and just push hard. It was fantastic. I'd then use the wheelchair for support and bare feet and try and go through walking motions with bare feet so I could feel what was going on to strengthen the ankles and foot. I was getting a lot of, I started to notice problems with my ankles at this point. Obviously, they fell off the ladder, landed on concrete and shattered both heels, but the ankles had been compressed, so I was getting ankle problems that I was having to deal with at the same time. And I was getting to the point where I could do squats in bare feet. I was just using some assistance to balance, to just make sure I didn't distribute too much weight onto the heels because they were still like fragmented at this point. So the first month was purely bare feet, and I was using quite a lot of supplements from week 2. So I'll put a list of the supplements I was using, which I think are I'll put them in the list of importance that I believe to be important on the blog, along with these videos. But as you can see there, I'm managing now to get nice deep squats. I'm still on my toes, my heels are raised. Look, I'm not putting too much weight on the heels. Every now and again, just gently. My upper body strength was improving nicely during assisted squats. And here I am on stage at the engine shed.
Good on wheel!
Sorry about that, you've got to have fun. Okay, so now I'm managing, I've got my shoes on now, as you can see. This is the 5th week. So I'm now getting out of the wheelchair with shoes. I've got some sport, little trainers, by the way, little supermarket trainers. Were very good, nice and cushioning. And there you can see I'm walking. I'm having to limp a little bit on, well, flat foot on the right leg and left foot can roll normally on the heel. The right one I'm having to just put down sort of flat footed. That's the right one was shattered more seriously. Okay, but big improvement. Week 5, I believe this was. And then week 6, I was basically busted out the moves. So you can see I've still got a bit of a limp on the right leg there, but basically bare feet on a spongy floor, in all fairness. But I never could moonwalk. I gave it a good go. And then I was in the rower. I was using, getting the legs built up using the rower, and I was focused on different areas of my feet. I could use a Theragun on the heels. If you know how powerful a Theragun is, if you've ever used one, I'm hammering my heels with a Theragun week 7 and 8. Felt great, no pain whatsoever. And then really from this point, I was leaps and bounds. I was grappling full on. I put my wrestling boots on. I could have a full on grapple with no concerns, no problems at all, really. And then from this point on, that was full on recovery, up and down stairs, bare feet. Obviously, you're on the stairs, you're going on your toes, but pretty great rehab exercise. I could go outside, I could play with the dog. I was having, I had to be careful, don't get me wrong. I was looking after certain things. You can see I'm not walking 100% there, but like 8 weeks and I'm back on it. And then 10 weeks, done. Full squats, no problems, no assistance, all pressure on the heels. Pretty much back to walking perfectly normal, as you can see there. And running, I can run and put a full impact on my heels. So in less than 10 weeks, with shoes on, that's worth pointing out, with shoes on, 90% recovered. Without shoes, don't get me wrong, I've still got some work to do. I'm not running around on concrete floors with bare feet. There's still work to do. But considering I was told 6 months to a year before I'm out of my wheelchair, I was in the gym week 1, teaching and training, and I've been active throughout. I'll put a list of supplements up, like I say, with this video on the blog. I will also, I've applied for my x-ray, so I'll do a before and after x-ray of the healing. And that's it. It's not, like I say, it's not advice, but you decide. I was told not to do anything for the first 3 months, just rest, elevate my feet above my heart. And then we'd look at physio, and then we'd look at this, and then look at that. The usual NHS procedure, and I'm not knocking the NHS. The hands are I understand the situation, but I took matters into my own hands, and I have made a pretty good recovery that I'm very happy with in a very short amount of time. And I haven't missed a day of work or training or enjoyment, and I've felt fully focused and positive and kind of enjoyed the experience, to be honest with you. I wish it hadn't happened, of course, but I've actually enjoyed the experience and the challenge, and proving the authorities wrong in what they tell you is possible, because this shouldn't be possible.